Good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you had an amazing weekend. Had lots of fun. Well, we have started the day off almost the opposite of what uh, Friday was, anyway. That you can see today that the Dow gapped up and has risen, and it's up 418 points. That on Friday it dropped, I don't remember the exact amount, but it was over 500. So we're getting closer to what that pullback was. We'll discuss and just see if we can sort of try and figure out if this is uh, a recovery and just Friday was just a goofy day and that we're bouncing back, or if this is just uh, kind of being stuck or what's happening. So we'll discuss that in a few minutes. But you can see the NASDAQ here gapped up, rose, kind of gone flat the last few minutes. Same with the S&P, gapped up, and then it's the last, I don't know, half hour or so kind of flat. Russell, up, and now started pulling back just a little bit. The highest percent mover is the NASDAQ, up 332 points. The next then is the Russell, just kind of heading up. You can look at the carpet here and see that the majority of this is green. That Berkshire is down 3%, and there are some other ones that are red in here. Earlier, just before the market opened, it was pretty solid green. That Berkshire was still red, but the rest of it, like Amazon and Lilly and so on, those were for the most part green. So it's definitely positive. You can see that the majority of these are up 2% plus. So that is great. Um, what I would like to look at real quick here, I'm going to switch over here to a chart. This is the Dow, and this is a daily chart. And so I wanted to look at the bigger picture to see where we are and look at what looks like might be going to happen. I'm going to get my little pencil here so I can scribble on my chart. All right. So if I look at my first indicator here, this is the Channel Commodity Index. It's something that I often talk about. And it's set at 21. And for anybody that doesn't know how to read this indicator, the zero line here is kind of the divide between being bullish and bearish. So if we look at this, we say, oh, wow, this has been bullish for a while, creating these green fins. And then you say, oh, I see. Here it dropped down and went bearish, and now it is just starting to rise. Well, when you look down here at the candles, you can see that is exactly what has been happening. Here is where it rose right here to this high and then pulled back. And this pullback has created some minor issues in a sense. You can see the EMAs here have crossed down. We've dropped down below the pivot point. Down here is where the candles are. Came right here to this 55 EMA and to support 2. And there was that red candle at the low. And now we are rising. Today this is a rise up. So it is like, okay, is this the end of this pullback and we're gonna rise up, or what is gonna happen from here? And it can be kind of hard to know. When I look back at the rest of the chart, and charts often copy, I guess you might say, or have lines that they get stuck at. And so what I'm saying, and this one you'll be able to see easy. So here we were saying, I drew right there. You can see these were rising up here and just couldn't quite get above that high candle. This level is the same level that was right here. If I scoot all the way across, right there, same level, go a little farther, right there, same level. I could, for the most part, draw a line kind of straight across and say, this is like it's kind of stuck, not able to get above that level and kind of keep going. And so based on that, I would say, what do I think is going to happen next? And so looking at this, I might think that here we are trying to get up here, but it might not work. And we might come back and do and go sideways and all. And then this fall, maybe, eventually will head up. And the reason I say that is I look at this and I say, there's this thing called a head and shoulders pattern or inverted head and shoulders pattern. If you think about head and shoulders pattern, it would look like this. So this is the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Well, inverted head and shoulder is as if somebody was standing on their head. And so this is the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. And that often happens in kind of rustic ways on charts. So I look at this and I say, this might be an inverted head and shoulders pattern right here. That is the right shoulder and then come up. Well, that would be great. Often this would rise and rise then for a bit. But I see that there is this. This is almost like a second shoulder right there. Well, that makes me wonder then if that is what is happening here and that needs to play out before this rises so that you have the head, the shoulder, and then this was a add-on bump to the left shoulder, and this may be an add-on bump to the right shoulder, and maybe this is not going to just keep going up and rising. Maybe there will be some downward swings before this ends up rising. So we're going to have to just watch and follow that and see how this plays out as far as the big economic picture is concerned. As far as trading, then usually most traders, what we do is to slip down in a sense and say, this, we're not getting into trades that we're going to hold for weeks and weeks and weeks and ride it up or ride it down. We get into shorter time frame charts so that we're in a trade for a day or 2 or 3 days. And then as it changes, we get out and we get in and get out and get in based on the shorter time frame patterns. All right, well, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you next week. Take care now.